All right, today we're charting a course right across the globe, all the way from South America to South Asia, to unpack a really powerful new economic partnership. We are talking about Brazil and Bangladesh. And believe me, for anyone in the investment world, this is a story you're definitely going to want to follow. So think about this for a second. What really happens? On one side, you've got Brazil, right? The agricultural and commodities powerhouse of Latin America. And on the other, you have Bangladesh, a global giant in textile and garment manufacturing. When these two team up, they don't just trade stuff. No, they create a whole new map of opportunity. And look, this isn't just some theory. The proof is right here in the numbers. Just in the last fiscal year, Bangladeshi exports to Brazil shot up by a massive 26%. That is a huge signal that this connection isn't just starting to form, it's accelerating, and it's accelerating fast. So what is going on here? What's driving all this? Well, what we're seeing is way more than just a simple trade boom. It's really the birth of a strategic alliance. It's a perfect example of what people call South-South collaboration. You know, where emerging economies in the global South start building partnerships directly with each other, basically rewriting the old rules of trade. A really big piece of this puzzle is a major milestone for Bangladesh. See, it's on track to graduate from its official status as a least developed country. Now, this is a great thing, but it also means it's going to lose certain trade advantages. That's pushing its businesses to get out there and forge brand new partnerships. And Brazil, seeing this opportunity, is basically rolling out the welcome mat. Okay, so if you're an investor and your ears are perking up, you're probably asking, where's the action? Where do we even start? Well, let's chart the course. We're going to look at the 5 most promising sectors in Brazil, where the unique strengths of Bangladesh could create some incredible value. First up, and this one is just a natural fit, textiles and apparel. Get this, Brazil's fashion market is projected to hit over $34 billion by 2030. Why? Because you've got this huge, style-conscious middle class with a growing appetite for affordable, quality clothes. And this is where it gets really smart. Bangladesh is the world's #2 apparel exporter. So by setting up smaller, local production units right there in Brazil, Bangladeshi firms can use their mastery of cost-efficient manufacturing to serve that local market directly. And in doing so, they can cleverly get around some of those really steep import tariffs. All right, next up is a massive opportunity, and this one has a huge social impact. Pharmaceuticals. In 2023, Brazil's pharma market was worth nearly $36 billion. To put that in perspective, that makes it one of the top 10 largest markets in the entire world. Now think about what this really means. This isn't just about business, it's about public health. Brazil has a universal healthcare system and it relies on affordable medicine. Well, Bangladesh is a global leader in producing high-quality, low-cost generic drugs. It's an absolutely perfect partnership that could directly lower healthcare costs for millions of Brazilians. Opportunity number 3, agribusiness. And this is the absolute backbone of the Brazilian economy. The scale here is just staggering. We're talking a food production sector projected to be worth over $218 billion by 2026. The key phrase to remember here is value addition. See, Brazil is a giant when it comes to producing raw stuff like soy, corn, and beef. But Bangladeshi firms bring the processing know-how to turn those raw goods into much higher value products. Things like cooking oils, processed foods, and even tapping into niche markets like halal-certified meats for export. Okay, let's switch gears to the digital world. Brazil's IT market isn't just growing, it's absolutely exploding. We're talking nearly 14% annual growth. That's blowing past the global average and makes it the undisputed tech leader in all of Latin America. So the match here is, well, it's pretty obvious, right? Brazilian companies are really struggling to find enough tech developers, and the local salaries are super high. Meanwhile, Bangladesh has this deep, growing pool of skilled, cost-competitive IT talent. It's just a straightforward, slam-dunk business case for IT outsourcing and joint software development. And our final opportunity is in a sector where Brazil is already a global titan, renewable energy. An absolutely incredible 89% of Brazil's electricity comes from renewable sources. That is the highest share of any G20 nation. You know, this connection is just fascinating. Bangladesh is world famous for its expertise in off-grid solar solutions. I mean, they've brought power to millions of rural homes. And that exact experience is desperately needed in remote communities in Brazil's massive interior. Think the Amazon. To replace all those expensive, polluting diesel generators, with clean, reliable energy. So the opportunities are obviously huge. But let's be real, no investor journey is ever without its challenges. So let's pull out our explorer's compass for a second and get a realistic look at how to actually navigate the Brazilian market. It is so important to be realistic here. The promise of Brazil is this vast, growing consumer market. But the practice? Well, the practice means dealing with high import tariffs, a famously complex bureaucracy people call the Brazil cost, and some really fierce local competition. Let's be clear, this is not a market for the unprepared. So, how do you win? The strategy is actually a pretty clear three-step process. First, local partnerships are totally non-negotiable. You need a strong local partner to help you navigate the system. Second, you have to adapt your products, your marketing, everything to local tastes and rules. And third, you can't just try to win on price. You have to differentiate by offering unique value and quality. So let's pull all of this together. The real potential here isn't just about one-way investment. It's about building a future of shared, sustainable growth for both sides. This quote really captures the heart of this entire story. This partnership is spearheading a new chapter of South-South investment collaboration. It's so much more than a trade deal. It's two rising nations from the global South, together, writing a whole new playbook for how to prosper. And that leaves us with one final powerful question to think about. As all these old global alliances keep shifting, could this partnership between the Jaguar of the Americas and the Tiger of Asia be the new blueprint? A model for how emerging economies can just bypass the traditional routes and build prosperity by leveraging their own unique strengths? It's a future that is definitely worth watching.